Hello, and welcome to our lightning talk on fleet transformation. I'm James Russell, CLEAResult's Product Management Director for Transportation Electrification, and I'm happy to be joined today by Peter Johns from Xcel Energy. Hello, Peter.
Hey, James. Hi, how are you? I'm Peter Johns. I'm the manager of dealership relations for Xcel Energy in our 8-state territory, primarily focused on Minnesota, Colorado, and Wisconsin.
So CLEAResult and Xcel Energy have a long history of working together on energy efficiency. And today we're going to tell the story of how our previously separate activities on transportation electrification have now dovetailed, and we're working together on an initiative to transform our local fleet. Peter's going to begin by giving us an overview of what Xcel has been working on. So take it away, Peter.
Sure. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for being here, and thank you, James. As I mentioned, I'm the manager of dealership relations for Xcel Energy, and my primary focus is working in the consumer side and working with dealerships throughout our territory. And we do work quite a bit with the fleet transformation process. But to give some context on what drives us and how we're getting to where we're going, on the screen here you can see some of the guiding principles, and this is true to form. This is embedded in everybody in the EV division here at Xcel, and we're fundamental believers in these processes, and it's moving us in the right direction. So we want to lead the clean energy transition, keeping bills low. That's incredibly important to us. I think Xcel consistently is one of the lowest of the major utility providers in the U.S., and it seems like that has an awful lot of resonance with our consumers, obviously, but it's very important to us. And then one of the other things that we like to keep top of mind is enhancing our customer experience. We strive every day for a best-in-class customer experience for everyone in our territory. So that will speak to equity in just a second here. We want to share our benefits, share the benefits with all our customers, including non-EV owners. More EVs on the grid actually help drive some of these costs down for us. And I think that's incredibly important, and that will be a benefit whether you are an EV owner or not. We are compelled with efficiency. That's an important aspect. We're constantly working with organizations and within our own research, obviously, to get the maximum efficiency out of our grid so that we are consistently reliable, consistently efficient for our customers on every level, commercial, residential, or whatever it may be. We promote fairness and equity, and I think I'll talk about that in a little bit here. That's an obvious important aspect in anybody's life, but particularly for what we're doing. We want all of our customers to have shared access, to have great low rates, to have consistent, reliable electricity in their homes. That's incredibly important, and everybody deserves that. We align policy programs and partnerships on a continual basis. We work with private sectors, we work with nonprofits, we work with great organizations like CLEAResult. We have all kinds of input into our decision-making process, because in that collective decision process, we get to address all the concerns that come to the table. So again, we work governmental, community, nonprofits, business. Those are all factors in what we're doing. And all of that leads to certain important things like our TEP in Colorado, where we have an improved investment for the next few years of a significant amount. And we think we're putting it in great silos, and we think that there will be an ultimate great benefit to our customers. And this sort of breaks out a little bit in these silos that I talked about as where some of these resources are going and how they're being used. So in the residential sector, there's a home wiring rebate program that includes up to a $500 rebate on home wiring installations of level 2 chargers. And that is really important in the adoption process. We've talked about this in last August. We made an announcement to the industry and to everybody that's a stakeholder within our organization, is we want 1.5 million EVs on the road in our 8-state territory by 2030. And that doesn't happen overnight. That happens with a collective effort here. And so these are some of the silos and some of the staging that we're using to get there. Multi-housing is incredibly important, making sure that we are working with the right homeowners, landlords, municipalities on making sure that we have EV access in multi-home structures in residents. And then we have new construction rebates And we always encourage all of our customers to be talking to us about some of those new construction rebates. And in the Q&A session, I'll have my email address up. If there's any questions on how that works, or if one of our customers wants to get in touch with us, happy to do that. On the commercial side, we have a supply infrastructure, charging service, community hubs. We have all kinds of elements under the commercial side, particularly in fleet, particularly in home and building construction, that we want to make sure that everybody has access to. We have advisory services in residential and fleets and community. We have a very robust fleet division headed by Stacy Sims in Colorado, working on all kinds of level, making sure that we have procurement processes in place. We are working with all kinds of fleet services in diagnosing their usage from ICE to electric vehicles, showing those cost comparisons and showing how we can be part of that process. Research, innovation, development, partnership. Oh boy, that's big stuff. We're going with the distribution impacts, ride share. In Minnesota, we've helped with Our Car. They're putting, I think, up to 150 EVs on the road in the Twin Cities. And we want to help power that process. So we've been working with them for a few years as that gets up and underway, I believe, this year. And then within the automotive sector, this is one of the greatest things I think that is happening within the utility space, is that we are, as a utility, doing something heretofore not really done. We are aligning utilities with the automotive industry, two big century plus old industries that heretofore have never really had an opportunity to work together. So these are new confines, and this is exciting because we are the energy source of the future on electric vehicles, and we want to be at the table. We want to be leading the way with the automotive industry in the adoption process and how this translates into people's lives. So that's an exciting new area that doesn't happen a lot in utility, where you have a chance to really expand into a new industry. Our equity programs are paramount, and almost everything that we've talked about here has a stake in equity. Our home and multifamily rebate programs, we have a significant wiring rebates for income qualified individuals. In Colorado, with our purchase and lease rebates programs, we have up to a $5,500 immediate off the hood discount at the purchase within our EV network dealerships, our dealerships within the network. We also have up to a $3,000 on pre-owned, provided they are going through a dealership. Commercial charging rebate programs, community charging hubs and programs, and advisory services. We try to represent a full fleet here of opportunities for all of our customers to find out ways to drive those energy costs down. So if we want to go to the next slide here, we have declared, you can see in the right-hand column there, Xcel plans to electrify all of its sedans by 2023 and our light-duty vehicles by 2030, with a 30% of those being medium and heavy-duty vehicles. No small task, but if we're going to promote EV adoption, we're going to talk about that. What better way than lead by example? So that's been a big conversion process, and we're working with all kinds of organizations to help us get there. So you can see EVs are ideal for a variety of fleet operations, consistent operation, relatively high annual mileage. The cost of ownership is so important, and when you really look at how EVs are built, structured in their purchase and procurement process, the ROI starts to show up in a couple of years, and you start really seeing those costs drive down. We are addressing major barriers on vehicle availability. Currently, we're dealing with chip shortages, but the supply chains are working through that. The initial upfront cost that I talked about that goes away, that comes down after a few years, and you all of a sudden start seeing that curve go up as far as ROI, and you'll start seeing some incredible results with that. And then obviously charging access, working with all of our fleet partners and businesses on how we're setting up charging infrastructure, rebates and programs, things that we're willing to do in order to make sure that this is happening and that there's all kinds of access. I think I turn it back to you, James. How's that?
That's right. Thank you, Peter. Xcel certainly has a comprehensive set of services that you're providing on the EV side. And on the energy efficiency side, CLEAResult's team, under the banner of the Home Energy Squad, has been providing similarly comprehensive services for residential energy customers of Xcel Energy. They're delivered by our Denver-based team. And up till now, they've been delivered with conventional vehicles, internal combustion or ICE vehicles. We have 11 local vehicles of a variety of types used by that team to support Xcel primarily, but also some other clients and programs. And when Peter and his team reached out to us a couple months ago and said, "Hey, would we be, interested in aligning with all of those initiatives that Peter just described, and beginning to bring some EVs into this fleet," really the timing couldn't have been more perfect. We were able to say yes pretty much immediately, and we've already placed an order for one of the electric vehicles, which is soon to hit the road of Xcel territory. It's generally not that quick to electrify fleets. I don't want to mislead anyone. The fact that we were able to move that quickly was because at the start of this year, we had assembled a team internally and started doing our homework, essentially. So first, we had looked at the vehicles that we operate and found, where are there comparable electric vehicles coming to market that would be appropriate to transition. And then we've done a complete total cost of ownership analysis across all of the nearly 500 vehicles in CLEAResult's fleet, across all the different regions with all the different rates and fuel costs and so forth that we find there. And overall, boiling it down to several key findings, what we learned was that in some areas, EVs are already the most cost-effective choice on a total cost of ownership basis. And in almost all of our regions, the total cost of ownership premium is less than 20%, and we expect it to fall quickly in the years ahead. We also see pretty much everywhere good emission reductions for both plug-in hybrids and full battery electric vehicles. There's a couple places where the plug-in hybrids are kind of marginal, in large part because we're comparing against an already very efficient Prius baseline. That's our standard sedan. But overall, very good results. The one kind of gap in the vehicle capabilities is a cargo van. It's a very 2021 gap because there are a lot of options coming to market on that next year. I just saw a bunch of them at the Advanced Clean Transportation Expo last month. So a lot of exciting stuff there. And we'll continue to do this analysis pretty much for the next few model years, I would say, as we see that group of vehicles rapidly expanding and filling some of those gaps that exist today. One of the most interesting, or a couple of the most interesting learnings came from our survey of our drivers and managers. And just real quickly here, some key findings, really overall, people were very enthusiastic about adopting EVs, welcoming that as the next kind of generation of CLEAResult fleet vehicles. The areas of concern are pretty much the common areas of concern, and they boil down to how and where am I going to charge this vehicle? And at CLEAResult, that mainly means how am I going to charge at home? Because as you see in the pie chart, most all of our employees take their CLEAResult fleet vehicle home at night and park at home overnight. And they don't generally have charging today. So that means in order to roll this out first with our local fleet in Xcel territory, and then more broadly, what we need is a home charging incentive program. Well, fortunately, incentive programs are kind of our thing. So we're figuring out the details on that and don't anticipate that being a major barrier. Now, we know we're not the only organization confronting these types of both the opportunity of beginning to electrify and also finding the challenges that come with it. So we're now working with a partner who's been in the fleet management space for decades to take that process, take the learnings that we've had and introduce it as a new client and customer offering called Fleet Electrification Management, which is based on something we've been doing for years, the framework of our strategic energy management programs. And by that, I mean, it combines a focus on goals and measurement with a process that is clear and systematic, and that throughout that process, you are engaging with the stakeholders internal to your organization, your legal team, your accounting team, and so forth, so that you can bring the whole organization along and have them committed to that fleet transformation. So we're really excited about bringing that to market this year. And we're going to have some time this afternoon for further discussion on this. I hope you'll be able to join us then. And we'll also have Desmond Hall, our fleet manager, who's been an integral part of this effort with us. But now I think we have a few minutes for questions. Thank you very much.